From Sinatra, swing to Brando's stage. Maryland's grace to JFK's age. It's Johnny Russo, Hollywood's own. With Jeannie Raymond, secrets are shown. Hollywood Godfather.
Welcome, everybody. It's time for another Hollywood Godfather podcast. I can't believe we're into July. I love it.
Absolutely.
And let
July's
me
my
introduce my
favorite month.
co-host. That wonderful voice you're hearing is Jeannie Raymond, the co-host of the show, the star of the show.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I'm the co-host that's happy to be here. That's for sure. Hi, Gianni.
How are you, my love?
I am great. Warming right up here in Utah. It has certainly, summer is here. It is hot.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
so
Unfortunately, I don't go out that much in the sun anymore.
you're right.
Thank God.
Well, hey, we've got a fun show. We've got a bunch of questions and we've got a bunch of announcements of where you're going to be. So I'm excited for all of that. You've got a couple of really fun engagements where people are going to get to come and meet you, sign autographs, do some pictures, and those
Yeah,
are always.
that's all happening at Resorts World, the Catskills.
That's right.
So save that date, Columbus Day weekend, man.
That's right.
I'll be there.
The 11th through the 13th of October.
Yep, I'll be there.
Well, that's going to be another. Are you doing a show?
Yep, full show.
Full show.
Resorts World. So get to your casino host or whoever allows you to come. And we're going to start something there that's going to be insane and ongoing forever.
I know this is a life-changing deal.
Oh my
You're
God,
just
no.
it's changing your routine around quite a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, but I love it because they own so many great properties from Malaysia to London to, I can't wait for a year from now, the 4th of July, 2026, we will be at Aqueduct Park, 18,000 acres of casino and horse track, and it's going to be a great opening a year from now. Be
Oh,
perfect.
absolutely. That's two things I quite love. The horses
You'll be there.
and the casino. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. And then before that, we're going to be at the Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is also.
That's July 11th. Yep.
Yep, July 11th through the 13th. You can go to fanboyexpo.com and get tickets. Come meet.
And look for us. We'll be doing live broadcasts from there.
That's right. I'm so excited. There's going to be a lot of great people there. I expect that this is going to be a busy place.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, Shatner and all those guys, when they start showing up. Well, the guy who's the producer of this show, I'm doing another show for him in Orlando, Florida in September. Same guy, but he has major stars, fortunately.
Yeah, it's a big deal. You've got some fun things in the near future. So I'm really excited. All right. So first question is from, let's see, Dean. Dean says, for your mailbag, I'm sure you were acquainted and watched many comedians while in Las Vegas. Were you friends with any of them? And do you have a favorite comedian in Las Vegas?
Well, my favorite comedian obviously became Don Rickles. And, I became his opening act. And that's when Ivana Trump and Donald Trump came and invited me to become a headliner. I opened Trump Castle for them in 1990. That's
Wow.
35 years ago.
That is wild.
And he was my favorite. And it's funny how we met, Sinatra was at the Laurent Room at the Fontainebleau Hotel, which I used to be there every time he was there. It was the last week of January, first week of February in Miami at the peak of the season. And we heard about this guy, Don Rickles, who's in a lounge at the Deauville, I think, at the time. If my memory serves me right. So one night we go up there. It was like 2:30 o'clock in, 2:30 in the morning. We walk in, and all of a sudden he gets a note, which happens a lot. People bring notes to the stage, and he reads the note, and they mention that Sinatra is in the room. And that's where he coined the phrase that night, just ad-libbed it. And when he said it, the room went quiet. You could think someone was going to get shot. He said, "You're not going to believe it. The skinny guinea is in the room." That's how he addressed Sinatra. Sinatra had never met him. They just heard that he was nuts.
Oh, you're kidding. They didn't know each other.
Not at all. None of us knew him at all. We heard this guy's insane at night. And that's how he introduced Sinatra, got the note that Frank Sinatra was in the room. We called him the skinny guineas here, Frank Sinatra. It's
Oh,
amazing.
wow. Yeah, that's hilarious. And they became good friends after that,
Oh
right?
my God,
and it
yeah.
worked out so well.
Sinatra helped promote him, brought him on Carson's show, brought him on everything that made him a star, actually.
That's
So that
wild.
time he was working lounges in Miami.
Wow. That's hilarious. And good thing it came off good. It came off very well. But I heard Frank Sinatra didn't like anybody else calling him that.
Oh
Only
no,
Rickles
he
got
was the
away
only
with it,
one.
right?
Oh yeah, the only one. Well, I forgot the Don Shecky Green used to tell a story of how Frank Sinatra saved his life. And obviously, in the audience, said, "Well, how'd that happen?" Well, Don Rickles used to call him the Skinny Guinea, so I started calling him that. And then I got messages say, "I can't do it, don't do it, don't do it." But I was getting so many laughs, I kept doing it. So how he saved my life, one night, 3 guys were beating me to death in the parking lot. And Frank Sinatra said, "Okay, that's enough." That's how he saved his life. I mean, I think that's even crazier. But those guys were,
That'll do, huh?
I mean, it's those kind of stories you can't even make up.
Wow. Well, this is Dean from Minneapolis. Dean, thanks for your questions. He said he lived in New York. His favorite was Rodney Dangerfield. And
Rodney's down the street from me.
that's what,
Dangerfield's is the nightclub. It's right here on First Avenue.
oh, really?
How about First Avenue, 61st Street? Almost
Holy,
on my block.
that's
It's
why
still
I
there
love
too.
Rodney Dangerfield. Probably the first introduction to Dangerfield for me was Caddyshack.
Oh my
That
God.
guy
Yeah,
was
yeah. So funny.
hilarious. Hilarious. A show that's so funny. So, all right. Well, thank you for the question. It always brings up some good stories. So it says, this is Reina Gambino Gagliano, maybe?
Mhm.
Gianni, what part of Sicily were you born, or where does your family come from? I ask because I have Russo and Sinatra in my family tree. Sinatra came from La Cara Reedy? What's that? Do you know what that is?
No,
All right.
that's probably her last name.
That could be. I'm so sorry, Reina. I'm not great with these new names. My Sinatra relatives come from Prizzi Palmero, 1723. 30 minutes away. Oh, she's killing me with all these names I've never heard of. I
Don't
talked
worry about
to
it.
you
Don't worry
15
about it.
years ago.
We really don't care where our family comes from. It's a great
Right.
question. You asked where my
Yeah,
family came from.
right.
My On my grandfather's side, we came from Palermo, and we're still very much there. We go back in Palermo to 400 years.
Oh, wow.
400 years, the Russo family, fortunately and unfortunately, ran La Cosa Nostra. And
Was
my grandmother was from Naples, which you've heard before, because I was reared on Enrico Caruso until I was 7 years of age. And then I met a guy on the radio that Carlo Gambino sent me for my birthday called Frank Sinatra. And there's not a day goes by that I don't listen to Sinatra every day now. So that's where I'm from. Mezzo Sicilian, mezzo Napolitan. Moving on.
I could never say that. I can barely get through some of these. I need to get on one of those Rosetta Stones and start practicing my just getting these words right. So another podcast we just did a few episodes ago, episode 320, was with Vito
Picone. Right. The
That
elegant.
one. What a great episode that was. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it. It was so fun to see you and him comparing stories, see the genuine smiles on your faces and the laughing about all the different things that you guys grew up doing. So I really loved that.
Well, Vito was one of my mentors.
Yeah,
He was, I mean, he was a huge star. He wrote Little Star, and the accolades that song got, and that was during American Bandstand and everything else. And he was the first Italian kid that I personally knew became a star. And he offered to do a portfolio for me. And he took my first pictures as an actor.
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, this is a talented man, and he started, I mean, he was singing at 15 years old, right?
They were singing on the corner, doo-wop. That's where it all started. Well, even Sinatra, people don't know that. Sinatra was part of the Hoboken Five.
Oh, that's right.
And they were on Major Bowes and all those shows. That's how they started. And then Tommy Dorsey heard him and became a band singer at the time. And he got introduced to everybody that Tommy Dorsey was performing for, and the rest is history.
Well, now, did any of the people that Sinatra started out with, did they ever have careers?
Not to my knowledge, because he left them in the neighborhood where they were singing on the corners, and he went on to do being a band singer. They
Yeah,
used to always have 3 or 4 singers, males or females,
right,
because they were big bands, and that was the
sure,
big band era.
right.
But look where Sinatra went. Forget about it.
Oh boy, I'll say, yeah, singing, acting, he was incredible.
Yeah.
So this is from Stevie Boy. He said, this was a great interview. He's read all your books. He lives in Staten Island, but was originally from Brooklyn. Are you making any appearances in Staten Island? Because they would love to come and see you. Hope to see you soon. Ciao.
Well, as I just mentioned, I signed a deal with Resorts World now. So I'll only be at Resorts World, and I don't think there's one on Staten Island.
Not
But
yet.
but I'll just wait till next July if you don't see me, and go to Aqueduct Park in Queens. That's
Yeah.
even closer for you. So there you go. I'll be there.
There you go.
Or
Give
come
us
up to the
your
Catskills on
boy.
Columbus Day weekend.
That's right.
That's coming up soon.
October. That gives you plenty of time, right?
Right.
That's right. So Roger Hare said, fun to watch old friends reminisce about their youth. People loved seeing that. It was such a fun episode. People really enjoyed seeing the two of you. So how did you were friends with him at first and then decided to have him take your pictures? You were already
Vito
friends?
Picone?
Yeah.
Vito Picone went to school with my sisters. I knew him all my life.
Oh, wow.
No, I know Vito from the neighborhood. No, Vito was like I just said, was the first real person I knew that became a star. He's only 2 years older than me.
That's crazy. And you, who were not heading down that road as an entertainer, here you are in the entertainment business. And that
I
was
went on. I mean, years later, I got it.
right.
Obviously, 71. He's talking about the 60s, I think. That Little Star was a big hit.
Oh yeah, that's just wild. So we have Gopher State, and Gopher State, thank you so much. I always see you're always commenting, and we appreciate you listening, and you're always wanting to put some questions in there. He just said, we love the new music, Gianni, and that our new tune, I'll tell you, it was such a surprise. I was listening to a podcast. I've always got one in my ear, and I was out doing yard work, and it just went, one ended and another one started, and here came this snappy music, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this one is. And then I thought, well, holy cow, it's our show. And so then I send Mike and Gianni a text. I love the new music, thinking Gianni had heard it. I thought you guys just were surprising me to let me hear it. And then Gianni said, what are you talking about?
Oh, I don't listen to
I
the
don't know
show,
what you're talking about.
unfortunately.
Yeah. And Mike Austin got us a fun, fresh song, and I love it. Mike's
Well,
fantastic,
well, he
and
actually created it. That's the genius of him.
I'll
He
say,
produced that. So thank you, Mike Austin, again and again and again
okay,
and again.
that's exactly right. That was so fun. My little grandbaby, we get in the car, and I'll always say, what do you want to hear? And she usually says, because I've trained her well, Toby Keith, which he's my favorite. And he sings a song, Big Dog Daddy. So that's what she always wants to hear. Now she says, Grammy, let's hear your song. So even the
That's
little kids
great.
are liking it. Yep,
Good, good.
that's exactly right. Let's see. Oh, let's see. I can't read this guy's name. Something Fender. I don't know. Gianni, love the idea of doing the once a month television and big screen segments. Also, never forget your listeners will never get tired of the true life gangster stories. We love that stuff. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Those,
As long as I'm in danger, no one else.
yeah.
Getting too
So,
old for that stuff.
right. So, tell us about how you would take money back and forth. Was it always small things you could just handle, or were you taking suitcases, or how were you moving money around?
Suitcases, not in my lapel pocket, believe me. No, we'd leave Nick Nitti and I, Frank Nitti's kid out of Chicago. They set this up basically and brought me along, and then, because of my connections with Costello in New York City, we'd go to we actually leave Vegas on Mondays and go right from McCarran Field in Vegas to O'Hare in Chicago. Don't leave the airport and get on Alitalia flight to go to Rome. And then the people from the Vatican would be right on the tarmac and pick up the suitcases. We never did anything, but everybody knew what we were doing, but we were bona fide couriers.
Right.
We got stopped a million times, which again is the brilliance of Costello. And I became a bona fide courier for Lloyd's of London. And my client was the Vatican. So they couldn't touch anything. And I used to tell them, which I knew they couldn't do. The FBI wanted to kill me. But I said, listen, go to the Vatican, get a subpoena, and then you could search me. You can't touch me. I'm a bonded courier. Well, I that's one thing. I was always in the gray area. I never
Right.
broke the law. It wasn't black or white. I was in the gray.
You're just skimming right along that line.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I look back, I think nowadays, you know, I don't know, were you not going through security and stuff like that? I know you weren't one.
Well, all of that security came after 9/11.
9/11, that's right.
I mean, I used to fly as Mary Poppins. They didn't even look at the ticket name on the tickets. They didn't care.
You just hand them the stub and off you go.
It's totally different. Yeah. And well, I would never use my real name because I there's a lot of people calling the attention to that right away.
Sure.
So
Oh, yeah.
I would always fly as an alias, which now you can't. You're not allowed. You have
Oh, no. Yeah.
have two different proofs of this and that and the other. but I like it. I mean, I love the security. I love what's going on.
Oh,
People
for
are
sure.
complaining about it. I love it.
Right. You can get on an airline and feel secure. No one's going to put a gun to your head. So that's exactly, I get what you're saying. So another question, your passports. I mean, are you carrying around books like is your passport about this big because you got so many stamps in it? I mean, you've been everywhere.
No, no, when they know how many pages you have used, and he sent me a new one. I
You
get
got
I get I get a new pass. Well, my passport will be renewed officially in 27 again. I know the date, but that's it's every 10 years. But
okay.
they know when you're on page 6 because don't forget that they scan that
Okay.
and it goes right to so they'll know the guy's on page 16. Get him another passport.
I filled out the paperwork several times and I still don't have it, which is stupid. I understand, but my little grandson's been to Italy. He's 12. I need to get my head in the game and get going. Well, it's
Well,
time for
yeah.
a quick commercial. We'll come back and do some more questions. How's that?
All right, please. Well, again, I'm so proud of my relationship now with Resorts World, the Catskills. My first big date is Columbus Day weekend. So if you have a host there already, get in touch with them. And as time gets closer, we'll show you how you can get invited. And would love to see you there. I'm doing a meet and greet and doing my big show. So I mean, this is an 80-minute unbelievable. And the only reason why I am saying it is because I've done it in Baku, Azerbaijan. I'm closing this tour actually in Ireland on January 2nd, 26. So I'm becoming a world traveler and entertainer while I'm doing that. But again, make your reservation, save the date for Resorts World, Columbus Day weekend in the Catskills. All right, we're back.
All right. All right. Let me find, I'm trying to get on over to this next question I had saved. All right. This is Becky in Montana. I love your stories about your antics as a young man and doing all the running around. Was there ever a time you got close to getting caught?
So many times. How about caught, shot, stabbed, run over? No, I mean,
Run over? Okay, I haven't. There's a story that I haven't heard. Who ran you over?
if I tell you, you're not going to believe me. My father. And I
Why?
knew that he did it deliberately. And my mother said, no, he would never do that. No, and then it's funny because I lived up the block from him. I've always trying to get close to him. And then I just said, I'm giving up on this guy. He was just a little short, arrogant guy and 5'4". So you got a visual. And he had this long driveway. And I could look down from my apartment. So it was snow and I'd go shovel for my father. So I would start shoveling because it was a long driveway. And by the time I got like he always wanted me to start from the garage door and work to the street. And then I realized why. Because by the time I got halfway down, he could come out the side door of the house and walk on the pavement and get in the car. But he would back out of the garage and start inching his way down. And sometimes when I had like maybe 2 or 3 feet left, he'd back the car up and race it and bust through it because he was getting tired of waiting. And this
Oh,
one day, I went flying over the hood of the car.
gotta
He
be
hit me
kidding
with
me.
the car because it swerved on the ice. And I went right over the hood of the car. My mother comes out and brings me into the house. I said, I can't believe you ran me over. He said, he didn't see you. And then the phone rang maybe 5 minutes later, and I could hear by the conversation that she was responding to that he asked her, did he get hurt? So he knew he ran me over and he kept going. He didn't even stop.
He didn't even say, oh my God. Holy
These
cow.
stories are so hysterical when I think about it. But I was laying on the ground, I'm saying, I can't believe the guy ran me over.
That is insane. That is insane. That is who
I
I
know.
can't, I'm speechless. Is he all right? I didn't have time to worry about my kid. I
Yep.
just kept, but well, hey, he called, I guess. That's insane.
I mean, no, but that's who he was. Fortunately, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Jack. Oh, Jack's from here. Jack in Salt Lake City. Where was the first place you performed that wasn't your own?
Oh my God. Well, I was opening act
Oh, for
for
Rickles.
Don Rickles, and that was I did that at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. I owned State Street already because that's where I was rehearsing and practicing. And then Sinatra thought, and Steve Wynn gave me the opportunity, and they made me the opening act for Don Rickles. So I did a half hour just to get used to live audiences and get comfortable doing, the show that way. But that's where my first out on the stage performance as an opening act was there. And then Don Rickles, then Ivana and Donald Trump saw me there, and they asked me to open up Trump Castle, and that was February 1990. And I've been a headliner for 35 years now, fortunately.
I'll say. Well, that's amazing. I've heard you sing and it's absolutely wonderful. Even my cute mom, she said, "Wow, you're a good singer." Because she just knows you from the podcast and from,
Well,
you know, the book. And then she met you and she was like, "Well, I'll be damned, that guy can sing." I was like, "Oh, mother." Yeah, but I love that you do still have a beautiful voice. And I did love getting to hear you sing. Um,
well, that's why, again, having people like the Sinatra being your,
oh,
you know, voice teacher and Marlon Brando being your acting teacher, again,
yeah.
it's the people around me. They created it, and fortunately, I took advantage of it.
Well, you had the talent and they were there to help you along. That's fantastic. All right. Do you plan to make any more albums?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna probably do another one. I want to do. I'm creating a show now, not the show I've just finished, but I want to do songs that I was interested in chronologically going through my life that I learned to sing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be male or female. So I'm going to take you chronologically through my life, maybe with 10 or 15 great tunes that you've heard other singers do, and I'm going to do my renditions of it.
That's awesome. Do you ever do like when you have your shows where you're on the road? I know around the holidays, do you add any Christmas songs to your shows?
Yeah, I really I do one or two. I always like White Christmas and that kind of tune. But
To stick with your routine?
and I really try not to perform during Christmas season. I could call it out. I don't.
Oh, even better.
Yeah,
That's very smart. Well, yeah. So you got to rest up for the rest of the year.
yeah. No, not for that. I just want to do what I do for my holidays
Right.
around myself, not be out on the road.
Sure. Do any of your grandkids, I know you've got grandkids that you spend time with, any of them like to sing or
Yeah,
any?
I don't want to encourage them one way or the other because God forbid it doesn't work out for them. I
Right.
mean, careers today, I don't know how these kids are going to get recognition at all because you don't have jukeboxes and you don't have the wherewithal to exploit it, or DJs anymore. And most of the lyrics today are all this hip hop stuff. So the
Right,
trend right now is not, I don't think it's conducive unless you're in that bag of music.
right.
But
And
so,
nowadays they make one hit, and they go on TikTok or I don't know, Instagram, wherever they are, and their careers are going from there. I've heard a lot of I'm a country music fan. So Tracy Lawrence and Tim McGraw, I don't know if you know any of them, but they were talking about how nowadays you can just throw a single on one of those platforms, and it
I'll go
used
do TikTok. You'll be saying it all over the world. They like it. That's it. You're done.
exactly. And they were saying before people would curate an entire album, and they were so happy about the way the whole album went together, and that was part of making it, and how it was so
Yep.
special because it was that way, and how it's so different now because that part of it's just gone.
It's funny that you mentioned this because I'm writing another book. They asked me to write another book. My new book called Mafia Secrets will be out November 25th. And now Resorts World is making a deal with Kensington. They're going to have a pre-release of that book at the casinos, uh, probably like as early as, I would say, October. So it's 2 weeks prior, 2 months prior. But Barnes and Noble is doing a big job on my book now already. I can't believe it.
The one Mafia Secrets.
The Mafia Secrets, they're offering this month, the 8th, 9th, the 10th of July, they're offering 25% off if you bought one now.
Oh, if you pre-order.
This is, yeah, Barnes and Noble. That's the kind of deals I get. I can't believe that they even came to me.
That's I it sounds to me like you are the one. I don't know if you've got somebody else, a manager, doesn't you take care of all your business, don't you?
You got that right. I don't
Yeah,
have no manager, no agent. I don't want any.
right. But it's your deals, and I have been around you, or right here on the over Zoom enough to know that you are so smart, and you're always, got those deals going, and always got your mind going a million miles an hour, and it's just fun to see those things come up, and it's just one great thing after another, and they
Yeah,
just
I mean,
seem to
I, I,
be
I would
better.
have to, I would have to say the biggest deal I made is with Resorts World. This
Right.
deal is so huge. And when I was there for 3 days, and again, to leave Dino anonymous for a while. He was the mentor. He drove it because I met him years ago. We met at Saratoga Racetrack, and he said, "I got to get you with these guys." He's with them now 7 years, and my name came up and never had the opportunity. And we set this meeting, and everybody was there, and I was so impressed. I had to ask for nothing. They gave me everything I wanted, just offered it. And I'm
Things
sitting there. I thought maybe I was going to wake up and realize I was dreaming that this is not true.
That's hilarious. Well, I'll tell you, it's just these deals just keep coming, and a lot of the things I've heard, they're coming to you, which
Oh,
is,
yeah.
how
I
fun is
like I
that?
like incoming calls because you don't have to negotiate. I tell people,
That's
try to
right.
get incoming calls. They say, what do you mean by that? I said, well, if they're calling you, you probably got the job. If you call them and they don't call you back, you don't have the job.
That's
I'd
right.
rather have incoming calls. I love incoming calls.
That's exactly right. You don't even have to, like you said, you don't even have to try and play hard to get. If they're coming looking for you, they've already
Yeah, it makes it easy, and it sounds like, wow, you really know what you're doing. I don't know anything. I just wait for the phone to ring,
wait for it to ring and wait
and
to
then I
hear
take advantage of it.
exactly. Well, there was somebody who had mentioned that when they filmed The Godfather, that they needed a house, and you found the house for them. Is that
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, everybody thinks I did that for nothing. I found the house,
Oh, I don't.
and then the next day we're up there shooting the wedding scene. That was my wedding, and there was 700 people. And the wedding was done in the 40s, so they didn't have canned soda and all that.
Oh,
So I called the union anonymously, and I said, we have like 700 extras here. Standing in the sun for this wedding, and there's nothing for us to drink. Well, sure enough, they sent a notice up to them, and the guy came to me. He's Johnny, you're from around here. How could we get soda up here and all that? I said, what's your budget? He said, well, we're probably $20 a case served. So I went to the community college right down the hill, Staten Island Community College. And I went to the drama coach. I said, you're not allowed on the set. I know all the kids want to go. We need students to serve sodas in between the takes, because then as soon as they say roll them, they got to go get all those cans and get it out of the shot. Because if anybody saw that in the editing room at Paramount, seeing a can of soda, they have to shoot the whole thing all over again.
right.
So and then I go to Shafter. It was the name of a brand that was ridiculously cheap. Like a case of 24 is like $2 or $3, something. I forgot even what it was.
Yeah.
And I made the deal, and I was selling it to them for $20 served. The community college kids just wanted to be on the set,
Sure.
and I was making so much money a day. Well, figure 8 or 9 hours. You got 700 people opening a soda, and then they say, roll them, you got to clear the set.
And they're thrilled to be on there.
Hello.
I do love Gianni that, and this had to have come from listening and watching how Frank Costello ran his business, because everything you do, which is totally opposite of me, which is why I'm broke and you're not. But the serious,
You're not broke anymore. You're my friend. Forget about
well,
it.
the thing is, if people need something, and I mean, I'm the go-between for so many things, and I think smart people like Gianni, they cut themselves in the deal. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm like,
Hello.
I needed some advice from you way earlier in the game. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I can get
just
that for
relax.
you.
It's going to happen for you. I'm going to make sure of it. Believe me.
Well, I love it. I think it's hilarious, and I'm thinking your brain was just a clicking. I loved it. You may have been laying in that bed for a while, but it was just making that business mind
I was getting ready.
getting prepared. That's exactly right. All right, let's do a quick commercial. I've got a couple of more questions I want to ask you about, especially
Okay.
about filming that movie, because there's a good question coming up.
Yeah, well, I think we only have one more commercial to do on this, but we definitely want to see you at Fanboy Expo in Knoxville. And we'll be celebrating Jeannie's birthday.
Oh, that's
That's the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And we're looking for you. Come there. You're going to love it. Believe me. Knoxville Fanboy Expo. Look at it. Get there and come and see us. And we'll be recording this show, Hollywood Godfather podcast, during that convention.
That's right.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
Well, we're back.
All right. Tell us how you got the birthday cake, or excuse me, the wedding cake. You got birthday on my mind. The wedding cake for the movie The Godfather.
That was another guy. They came to me, the property guy, and they said, Johnny, your whole family comes from Staten Island. Where's a good Italian bakery? We need these cakes. I said, what do you need? He said, well, we need a cake for the camera shot. So they make it out of styrofoam. People don't know that. They decorate it just like the cake. So they have two or three of them just in case it fell over. And then they have a real cake you can cut. Then they have tops of the cake that they'll just have to replace. So they gave me a budget. So now I go, the two best bakers, La Rosa's Italian Bakery on Olympic Boulevard on Staten Island, and Buddha Baker on Richmond Road. And I said, listen, I have an opportunity for you to make the cakes for the Godfather wedding. They said, you're kidding me. I said, no. And you can get pictures and hang them in your bed. You know, people, this movie's going to be the biggest, you know, the book was already in 6 print. I said, well, you know, so you want to do it? They said, we'll do it. So when they were talking to me about it, they gave me $1,500 for the cakes. That's the budget. And I had these guys competing. They made the cakes for nothing, just so they could have a picture of it. I said, I'll get you a picture. When you deliver the cake, I'll get Marlon Brando to stand next to you. You can put it in your, they went crazy. And I put
Was it a contest or did you use them both?
No, I didn't care who, I didn't.
The cakes were free?
No, the set design had a cake in mind, like a 5-tier wedding cake.
Okay.
That's all. And they made it. So they had to make one out of styrofoam. They had one, you know, all that, you know. And that was it. But they did it because they wanted to take a picture with, you know, Brando and everybody else. And so, like you say, you got to think out of the box sometimes.
Oh my gosh, Gianni, you're always thinking outside the box, and boy, has it paid off. All right.
I think we should wrap it up, actually.
That's right. You got to end on a good cake story, and then we're good to go. All right. Well, everybody, please come see us at Knoxville, Tennessee. Fanboyexpo.com is where you can get your tickets. We'd love to meet you in person. We're so excited. And then
make your reservations for Columbus Day weekend at Resorts World at Catskills. That's where I'm performing. Call your casino host or whoever. There'll be more information as we get closer where you can buy just general tickets to come. But put that down.
Right. We'll put some links on Instagram and Facebook so you can go about it and find it that way. We'd love to see you. Gianni's always great. I know those shows are incredible, and getting to meet him with some pictures and autographs is always great too. So thanks for joining us.
Great.
All right.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. And say goodbye to our little friend who listens to us all the time.
Jose, we love you. Thank you.
Jose.
Loyal fan.
God bless.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Hollywood Godfather, swinging bold, unveiling legends both new and old. Gianni and Jeannie shine that light, bringing golden ages back tonight.